So obviously you do the full fabrication downstairs, the folding, the welding and all of that side of things, and then the metal finishing side of it. So speaking with James earlier, metal finishing seems to be such a huge thing for architects at the moment.
Definitely.
He mentioned that you've brought it in-house.
Correct.
Were you involved in the process of deciding to bring it in-house?
Oh, totally, yeah. I mean, the finishes are getting more obscure all the time, as we all know. So being able to control that here is a great advantage. Not only can we do it here, we can then go on site. If it was an antique brass finish, for example, we can then go to site to do site repairs, maintenance even, on some of the finishes.
So what is metal finishing?
Metal finishing is basically we are putting almost an architectural finish onto a material just for aesthetics, and that is it.
So what materials can finishes be applied to?
Basically any metal, so all the way from your aluminiums, your brasses, coppers, bronzes, mild steel, stainless steel.
What are the typical finishes that Ultimet get involved in on projects?
Projects, it will be literally any finish from a raw material with a lacquer to protect it, if you want to go for that industrial look, up to your high-end, ultra-fine mirror polishes, brass made antique, a BMA finish, graining, yeah.
So what's the main benefit of applying a finish to metal?
It just makes it look better.
Architectural
finishes, yeah, definitely.
So obviously from Amron's viewpoint, as you know, we get involved in the brass, the bronze,
Correct.
the meshes and such like that. Well, what should be considered when they're designing products for the finishes? Is there a way that people can make it easier for you to apply a finish with a design, or are there any considerations?
Sometimes you need to look at, when you're doing your brasses, for example, your welded areas. So if you was to weld a mitered joint, for example, like on that piece of stainless, there is always the risk, the welded, where you put the filler wire in, that will patinate a slightly different colour. So we may need to pay extra attention to that, change the recipe of our toning fluids, etc.
So we've walked in to where the finishing bay is, and obviously we can see it's a fully sealed room, you've got ventilation and such like that way. Are there any concerns with polishing, that it kicks up dust or anything like that?
It does. I mean, this hence the reason this is a little sealed unit. We try to keep it all in one little area. The polishers will all be with either air-fed masks, filtered masks, extraction over when they're working as well. We take every single precaution we can to obviously keep the polishers safe and healthy.
If you aren't satisfied with the finish, can you rework the material before it goes out?
Totally. From experience, our polishers will look at it at every stage of that process. The process for a mirror polish, for example, would not be just straight away hit it with a polishing mop. It would be taken down in stages. At any point in that stage, it can be reworked to absolute perfection.
It's all about preparation of the material, making sure that you're not going too heavy with a grit, because as soon as you start hitting the metal with a heavy grit, it's harder to get it back to a mirror finish on a finer grit. You know, so it's a skill to look at the metal to see how good you're going to be able to get that piece of material up.
And it's why we wanted Dale here. As he said, it's not a 5-minute job to learn what he does. It's a hard, dirty business, and it's not everyone that wants to do it. It doesn't help if we get material in that's already been mirror polished, especially when it's been done by a metal polisher on a mechanical line. It will have grain lines in it. It will have evidence of that. Whereas with a hand mirror, Dale's finish is much better than that. So getting it to look uniform is the key.